There we go. And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It is Tuesday, January 9th, and I have a fabulous panel lined up for you here today. We're going to give everybody just a couple of minutes to join like we normally do. In the meantime, if you want to pop into the chat and let us know where you're joining us from, I always love to do that. As a reminder, today we're going to be talking about new ways to attract clients in 2024. So this is going to be a hot topic. Oh, here we go. Here come the, I love it. Happy New Year, everybody. Great to see where you're joining us from. So it's 1:02 on my time. I'll give you just another minute. I'll cover a quick bit of housekeeping. So my name is Sarah Danielli, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mydoma Studio. And again, today we're going to be talking about new ways to attract clients in 2024. I have three amazing panelists that are going to be sharing, just being really a bit intimate. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk about some strategies. We're going to talk about what's good, what's bad. We've got a couple different questions. We'll talk a little bit about trends. If you have any questions, please use that Q&A box. It does make it easier so I can filter out which ones. And if you want to let us, if the question is for someone specific, you can let me know. Otherwise, I'll just address the group. Use the chat to talk amongst yourselves. I think that's great, but use that Q&A box for questions. And this webinar is being recorded, so we will send it out afterwards for anybody who couldn't attend live, or perhaps you have to hop off the call. Who knows? We will have that recording. And look at that. As I look at the chat, I just love seeing it. Everybody is joining us from all over. It's so, snowy Toronto. Angela, I hear ya. The snow just started here in Ottawa. And then tomorrow it's rain and ice. Wait, why do I live here? Claire, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Cancun, Mexico.
Snowing?
No, I'm looking over at the ocean right now, actually. Sorry. But I will be going back to snow because I'm in Toronto and I know that we're getting a massive snowstorm today. So I'm just going to enjoy it while I can.
In the right spot. Okay, with that, I will introduce our panelists today. So as I already said, we have Claire Jefford. Claire, tell us a little bit. Actually, I'll introduce you all and then I'll kind of let you guys loop back around. So we have Claire Jefford, we have Gloria Stats, and we have John McLean. Claire, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll rotate.
Hey, everyone, and thank you for having me here, Sarah. Thanks to Mydoma. I always love joining your events. So I am an interior decorator and business coach from Toronto, Canada, just outside Toronto. I've had my business since 2012. I'm a really big advocate of, finding your own path to the top of the mountain. There's no one way that is right for anybody, and you do you. Do not feel like you have to follow the path or make excuses. And I think that it's just so exciting to be in this industry in general and to be able to collaborate with all of you guys here today and have so many people on from everywhere across the world. So welcome.
Gloria, you're
All
up.
right. Hi, everyone. My name is Gloria Stats, and my business is Peace of Mind Design, and I've been in business since 2018. And I offer mostly consultation-based services to homeowners as well as vacation rentals. So I am doing me, Claire. I'm doing what I love, and 2024 is all about reaching my personal goals by helping other people reach theirs.
Oh, I love that. And John, last but not least.
Yep. Hey, y'all. I'm John McLean. I am an interior designer. I'm a business coach. I have students in my Design Success Academy. I'm an author, have a book, and then also I host a podcast to help other designers. I love the business side of design. It's so important for me. So I love what you guys do at Mydoma, Sarah. It's so great. And my word of the year is alignment. And I feel that this would have happened. This today is alignment with me. And I think it's going to be alignment with a lot of people with what they're needing for this year. So thank you for doing this today for everybody. And, my goal today is to give like a lot of instant takeaways. I know a lot of times we get bombarded with the details of things. So I want to give somebody like a little nugget, grab it and go and apply it to your business. So that's my goal for today.
Perfect. Okay. So let's dive in. We have a really great audience here today, nice and packed. Thank you all for spending so much time with us. So I want to start by asking, let's just dive right in. Is anybody on this panel, is anybody feeling any general slowdown? Is this something that have you seen any slowdown in client projects compared to the boom that we were all experiencing, let's say like 2020 and onwards? What's going on? Like, what's the temperature of your businesses looking like? And is there anything that you're thinking of doing differently this year? And whoever wants to start it, you guys just, it's panel, you go for it.
I mean, I'm happy to start and say, yeah, we have hit a bit of a slowdown here at Claire Jeffert Inc. And to be honest, it's a bit of a welcome slowdown because, as most people know, over the last couple of years, it's been pretty crazy since the pandemic. And we are looking at ways. I mean, I have different revenue streams in my business, with my blog being monetized, digital products that we sell, my interior design boss academy, and my local clients that we work with. But we are looking at ways and sort of looking at last year, some of the questions that have come up from clients, and that's what I wanted to chat about here today as well with everybody, and services that maybe we weren't offering sort of on their own, and then going like, hang on, this could actually be a really good service. And for example, for us, I was with a lady a few months ago, and she hired me for color consultation. And while I was there, I was giving her advice about window treatments. But normally, to get me for window treatments, you have to do a full room. And I was like, well, hang on, why am I doing that? Because window treatments are actually really good profit. I love doing them. I have a lot of experience doing custom window treatments. I have a great workroom, sorry. And so I was like, why aren't I starting to offer this service? And the funny thing is that I find, I'm sure other people find this too, but then I had a friend literally within a month or so reach out to me and go like, well, we were over at their house and they have this older home that they're looking to sell eventually, and they want to like do it up, and they're doing it sort of room by room. And they said, we want to start with some window treatments. And I was like, that's interesting, because I want to start offering a service that is solely window treatments. So I think it's important to like look at where, what are people asking for? And don't be such a stickler and be like, and I'm the first one to be like, stick to your process, all of that sort of stuff. But when you need to switch it up and when it makes sense, I think there's some really good opportunities. And here's the thing, you try it and obviously set it up and make sure you're getting paid ahead of time and have a structure to it. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, you try it and you see what happens. And if it does and becomes super successful, then there you go. So window treatment only services, I think, are a huge moneymaker as well. And if you love doing window treatments and you're confident you have a good team set up for it, then I would say go for it. So that's something that we're looking to do and talk about more on our social media in 2024.
That's funny.
And I think oh, sorry, go ahead, Gloria. Sorry, no, go ahead.
No. I just want to follow up on Claire, because that is definitely, as we sat down and kind of plan our social media for this year, we planned the first quarter or so. Window treatments is in there, and it very individual consultations, because they are services that people want and they just want that one thing. They're upgrading their flooring or their window treatments or something like that. So in the past, like you said, we wanted to have a whole project. And now it's like we have to change a little bit. And I feel like it's okay to stick to your process. Just create a new process for this one service that you're going to be offering. Make sure that you're clear when you speak to your clients about what it is that you're offering with this service. And it just becomes something else that you do offer for now, and it might become something very profitable, because window treatments are huge. And I feel, for me, flooring consultations was another one that is very profitable when I use the right company, which a shout out to Rebel Woods. I use Rebel Woods, and it's very profitable for me. And I'm kind of digging back into how I started my color consultations, my interior design consultations, vacation rental consultations. I might end up with a full vacation rental design. I might not, but I got a job right now in the books, and I get my name out there, and people know me for what I'm good at.
And I think
that.
it's not even just I think it's more of like, we're getting back to where it should have been. Like, we had this big rush for so long where we're all so busy and we were spoiled for so long. And I hate to tell everybody, but marketing it's just the way it's always been. I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and I swear, like, it's just getting back to the way it used to be. So we were kind of fed a lot of projects for so long, and they were just coming at us from everywhere. And we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And now we're like, okay, we got to go back to actually marketing and putting our name out there and thinking about our company more, and telling everybody about ourselves. So I think if we go back to the roots of what we do, I think that's important. But, I don't want anybody to freak out and start just throwing services, that you may not love to do. It has to fit on, it still has to be your ideal client. You still have to be working with your ideal client no matter what services you offer for your company. So just make sure that, and by the way, now's the time to come up with these services is when not out of scarcity, but when you have a client pipeline. And if you have, if you're lucky enough to have projects right now, sit down and come up with a list of services that you think would work with your ideal client. And it could be, I call it designer on demand, where we go out for 3 hours and we spend 3 hours with that client. We give them takeaways, we give them lists. Some people call it designer for a day. I don't have a day to spend with a client, so I just do 3 hours. But I love that if you sit down, you can come up with these packages, almost like a McDonald's menu, if you think about it. And you come up with these packages and you come up with these ideas now, rather than thinking about it on the spot with your client. And you're really diving deeper into like, okay, what do I want to offer? And then what are my deliverables behind it? So put some thought into, all these other packages, that you want to offer right now, because there are so many out there that maybe we, pushed aside during our busy season.
I love that. I want to actually dig into that a little bit. Because I saw a little bit of a trend there that you guys were saying that full service or like the entire project may not be the thing that you're getting right now, or maybe you're not also seeking at this time, that it seems to be more bite-sized, let's call them micro niches, services, whatever we want to call packages, right? And so I see, John, you've got some, Gloria, you kept using the word consultation in various different ways, from colors to vacation rental, which could lead to a project. Claire, I think you also have something similar to your designer for a day. Do any of you want to elaborate a little bit more on any of those types of packages that you offer? Because you inspired me, because I know, John, you inspired me because Claire has been doing a lot about that. And so would love to, I think it inspire people a bit more back to those nuggets of takeaways of things they could try.
Yeah, I mean, so I've really been offering these services since I started my business, in terms of the one-off consulting only services, because I'm proud to be a certified interior decorator. I make no bones about that. And in getting into people's homes, getting into these consultation only, if you set it up and you show how professional you are and it is structured, you get payment ahead of time, and you're in there and you're giving value. I never hold back, by the way. I'm not like, well, if you hire me, I'll tell you. I mean, sure, I'm not going to give you a whole floor plan and be able to pick specific pieces for you. I can give you ideas and do that for clients. And what happens is often, I know sometimes designers and decorators, they worry that if they give too much in that consultation, then the client doesn't need them. But here's the thing. The client who is going to hire you for fuller services or further services, they're going to hire you anyway. But the people who maybe just need a little bit of help and aren't quite there budget-wise, or aren't comfortable in spending the extra money, they still appreciate if you can give them some value up front and don't hold back on it. But we actually find the opposite, because once I'm in a consultation, I start having a conversation about right, so you're upgrading your kitchen. Okay, so let's talk about that. They're like, I want a subway tile. I'm like, awesome. Okay, so let's talk about subway tile. And I go through what size of subway tiles, what type of subway tiles, contrasting grout. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do a feature by your oven? And before you know it, they're just like, oh my gosh. And they're looking at each other going, I had no idea. We had to think about all this stuff, and so you're giving them ideas. And a lot of times that then turns into oh, and by the way, and because first thing we do, I do not take a tour at the consultation. The first thing I do is I review my services with clients. I sit down, then we look at their questionnaire. So then we're now talking about other services that we offer and how we can help them, right? So designer by your side, designer for a day, and then we do the custom design and project management services, which is the soup to nuts. And we've been offering those, for, as I say, since I started my business. And even that, the designer by your side, sometimes for us, which is a minimum of 20 hours, you could do 10, but I'm like, never do less than 10, or else do the designer for a day for us, which is 6 hours. And then as you do that, then, before you know it, you're helping them with one project. And then in 6 months, you stay in touch, put them on your email list, and once a month, send them an update. And then they're like, oh, wow, Claire's just showing us a basement that she did. And, we want to do our basement. So now we're getting a reply on those emails, and they want to hire us back. So, don't underestimate those consultation only services. And if you only want to offer consultation only services like Gloria's, it's great money. I've done lots of little snippets of showing you could make $78,000, $150,000 a year on just offering your services and not necessarily selling things. Like John says, that doesn't mean compromise on your client, on your ideal client. You're still charging a decent rate. You're still offering a great service, but it doesn't mean that you're going for the DIYers necessarily, unless the DIYers have money to invest in your service and are happy to do so.
Yeah, and by the way, newsflash, like everybody's not a full service client candidate. Sorry, like they're just not. And there needs to be a place to put other people who can't afford, that top tier. They get everything of us when we are full service design, right? They get all of us. So the way I do it is I have all these packages, and if this helps anybody, I hope so. I have all these packages pre-set up, as I said, and I had my web designer put them on my website, and then I can just close those out and open them up when I want to offer that service. So for instance, I do one called Real Estate Refresh. And Real Estate Refresh is when we go into a home and we get the home, we work with the client for 5 hours, we get the home ready for sale, we tell them tips, we tell them what to do, we give them all the advice, we give them things to, where to order from, what paint colors to choose. It's a very intensive day. But I think like right now with interest rates so high in the real estate market, kind of like, that might be something that people want to offer. So I just go on onto my website and I just reactivate the real estate refresh myself. And then there you go, there's that service. But the other thing is too, I want to mention is make it easy for people to get to you, make it easy for people to, book something with you, to reach you, get away from that just contact us page. You guys have at Mydoma, you have that great, all the packages that you can embed in the website. Please, you guys, embed them in your website. You're going to see such an increase in traffic and then people calling you for consultations and scheduling those just because they're doing it at 9 p.m. at night or, on the weekend when you're not available. So take advantage of technology as well to make this so much easier for yourself. So yeah. And by the way, Claire, you were talking about ideal clients and so forth. So we just turned down a client. So we've had a downturn in the fourth quarter as well for design in our Florida office, but we had a client and I pitched, I think, a $65,000 or $70,000 design fee for the project. I call it creative fee. And the client was like, wow, I only had $40,000 budgeted for this. And I'm like, well, there's no way this is going to work. And so, even now, even when there's a slow turn, a downturn, and we're needing that particular business, I still said no because it was not going to be the ideal client because they were not going to appreciate what we were bringing to the table for them. So there are times you still need to put your foot down and say no, even when it's a slow market.
Great advice, because here's the thing, right? What if that client eats extremely into your profit margin, takes too much, right? There's this whole other side of like this quick pay the bills, keep the lights on, but if it's not going to be a right fit, it could actually do more damage, right?
Yeah.
Gloria, anything you wanted to add to that?
Sorry, takes me a minute to unmute. Yeah, no, I agreed with just following what John just said. It is important that we think, and it is tempting sometimes looking at maybe charging less for a project, even if we don't let the client know. But I feel like that leads to making us feel devalued, even if we don't share with anybody else. I just feel like we need to appreciate our time and how much we're charging, and our hourly fee is our hourly fee. So we are adapting the packages to the client, but we are not adapting our pricing. So that allows us to keep working and maybe find that ideal client, as opposed to trying to charge less for someone because we feel like we need that project, and then that stops us from being able to serve who we really want to serve. But yeah, I mean, going back, I see John keeps mentioning ideal client, and that was basically what we did, or what I did for this year, is I sat down and I figure out what my personal goals are and what my ideal client is and how do those two fit together. And I mean, it takes a minute. Have a cup of coffee, sit down, think about it, because that will lead those packages you're going to create, and make sure that your ideal client is happy, you're happy with the services you're providing. And if you build it, they will come.
And just to add a little piece on that, what I found interesting is that, John, you're saying you turn your packages on or off. Claire was talking about being able to pivot quickly. Like, embrace technology, however you choose to do it. Love for you to use Mydoma. If not, that's okay. But just don't be so stuck, right? that I do this one thing forever and this is all I do. You have to be able to move quickly and test and validate. And to John's point, oh, it's time to put that real estate refresh back on. It's as quick as turning a button back on, right? Like click it, turn it back on, double check this is still the pricing's correct, the flow, right? But you're not reinventing the wheel. There's a time and a place for these services. And Gloria,
Right.
what great. Sorry, you guys are exciting me and I'm cutting you off. Just that thing, like don't decrease your prices, but break up the service. You, in the end, you might sell more upfront consultations, right? And maybe a few more color consultations and a few less full service, but eventually you're going to get there in the same way. But you're not reducing your hourly rate by any means. You're just changing how you price out the project. Yes, Claire.
Sorry,
Go.
I have something to say because it's something, because again, I know like I'm a really big advocate for, charge your fee, don't come down from that. But however, I'm just going to say this because we had a client last year who normally when we do a full service, when we're doing, let's just say like a bedroom or a living room, right? Our starting point is $8,000 for our service fees. That doesn't include the consultation, but it includes everything else getting you to the finish line, because it doesn't include the furnishing fees, right? However, that typically with those projects, we're doing like built-ins, we're doing pot lights. I've got to get my guys in, we're scraping ceilings, we're painting. And so I met with a lady last year in downtown Toronto and she had a condo and she was someone she moves regularly. So she was only staying there for 2 years. But she said, like, I feel like every time I move, I never love where I live. And I'm just like, I want to like at least, have a space where I feel like I'm home in the middle of the, well, she really works a lot from home. But anyway, my point is I was like, you just need decorating. Like we can't do pot lights. We couldn't, she's like the paint color I looked at, I'm like, it was a nice neutral paint color. I'm like, I could work with this. She didn't need scraping of ceiling. So I said, you know what? I went back and I gave her a proposal and we came down to $6,000 because I'm like, if I'm not going back and forth with my cabinet maker on details and organizing my guys to come in and the lighting and where stuff's going to go, decorating is so much easier, you guys, right? Like when you haven't got all of those factors and your trades, because I don't know about you guys, but the conversations that I have, we're very detail oriented when we're doing like, layouts for built-ins, custom built house, fireplaces. I mean, this takes a lot of time. She was like literally needed furniture. And I was like, I can actually do this for 6,000. So I'm saying like, as much as we want to be sticklers and be like, don't come down, don't also shoot yourself in the foot when you're like, this is actually so much easier for me and I'm going to make still great money on the furnishing. So just sort of be aware of that when you're looking at pricing your services. The other thing I'll just say quickly on, packages or services that you offer. I do notice that when I'm coaching designers, they have a lot of packages and I'm even confused. So I would just say like, keep it simple. If you're doing a consultation, your paint consultation, in my opinion, should be the same charge as your design consultation, whether it's for further services or what I call, a one-off, a working design session. Like when you have a lot of different services, you confuse your client. I think a lot of times when people get very confused. So keep it simple, but offer enough without making it overly complicated. That's my little advice on that.
I just want to jump in real quick with that. Did you just said, Claire, somebody, I can't remember who it was I was speaking with, and I have my packages in Mydoma, and I used to have my consultations separately. So now literally is a consultation, like you said. Now, once they speak with me and we have our discovery call, then I can say, we can go with an interior design, we can go with a vacation rental, we can go with a color consultation, because this is what you need. But the fee is the same and the amount of time is the same. The deliverables change a little bit, but they take me about the same amount of time.
Smart.
And I think that's important. What you just said, Claire, was that you adapted. It is the time of pivoting. Let's all be honest about it. It's the time of pivoting, and you did. That was beautiful. That's exactly what I love about that, Claire. What you pivoted, but you changed your deliverables. You changed what you're. I don't want the takeaway from this to be like lower your price and then give everything, like that was going to give him full service. And that's what Claire just beautifully said, was that she offered another offer, but it was not everything she was giving in her full service design, but she still got the client and she still got something, some sort of business from that. And I think that's wonderful for that. So, and I don't want the takeaway either to just add on a service. And as you said, Claire, there should not be 10 or 12 services that someone offers. I think if you have 3 to 4 good services, packages that you offer, you're good. Like, don't go over that, because you are going to confuse your client. And frankly, you're going to confuse yourself and your team and all the things. But so have your packages, have 3 to 4 and then set your deliverables behind those. Have a good 1-sheet page that says, here's what I'm giving you for this package, and here's what I'm giving you for this one. Which one do you want? Okay, I'll take that one. So recently, in the past 5 years, we broke up our full service design into, I call it creative, which is our creativity, the things that we really love to do as designers, right? So I have creative, I have project fulfillment. I don't do project management, I do project fulfillment, and I do production. So those 3 things the client can buy from us a la carte. And if they just want to buy creative from me, like Claire was saying, they just buy that package and that's it. And then we're done. And I give them everything that they need to fulfill it on their own. They're going to get overwhelmed because they don't know how to do those things, which is why we're, here. But if you just sort of think about everything that you do and divide it up into segments, into little packages, even your full service design, as I said, can be divided up into different segments, and then price those accordingly. And if you don't get procurement, if you're not ordering products for somebody and you know that you've charged enough for your creativity and your creative fee, then who cares? Move on to the next project. It's all good.
I love that. Just move on. Like,
Yeah.
right? Not every project is a full service. Okay, we're gonna dive into some marketing stuff that we're gonna kind of segue, because building on something you said earlier, John, was we got to work a bit, right? For some of these projects, we've been a bit spoiled. The pendulum swung one way and that was great and everything was fruitful, and and it's swinging back. And that's not a bad thing. It just means we need to rethink about how we market our businesses. How do we find the ideal client? So I would just love to, let's kick it off by, is there a particular creative strategy or tried and true strategies or something you're using this year to market your business? Anything in particular that you guys are leveraging?
I'll just start by saying first of all, email is not dead. I know that, sometimes people, and I'm really surprised actually, like when I attend events and we sort of ask people how many designers have an email list, and 5 people out of like 50 or 100 raise their hands. It's really important to stay in touch with potential clients. We ask on our initial contact page, we ask in the consultation, the discovery call, and we ask at the consultation. We hit them 3 times, like, do we have their email address? Can we stay in touch with you? And the updates that you can send can be super simple. They don't have to be complicated. It's really staying top of mind. The other thing, without getting into new marketing strategies, which maybe I could share, but I'll let the other 2 maybe suggestions for that. But also, look at your past clients, your best clients, stay in touch with them, take them out for lunch, let them know what you're doing. Like, people who have already, I think we spend way too much time on social media, and I love social media, so I'm not going to say I'm not one of them, but when you have clients who have spent literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars with you, and then you're done the project and you don't really stay in touch with that person. I have clients that have become friends. We follow each other on Instagram. They have dogs and I have a dog, and we comment to them, they comment back. I ask how their kids are at university. Like, remember, relationships are everything. Like, you can do as much, on the computer, and we've got AI out now that's fabulous to help us in many different ways. But human connection is still huge. And I think it's easy for us to get carried away with trying to figure things out on social and get new people. But, if you could just retain, depending on how long you've had your business, if you could retain 6 good clients each year, or their family, I've had people then hire me for their family members or refer me to their friends. Those are the people that are gold that I think sometimes we easily forget about because we're so busy trying to get new business in all the time. So the email list is not dead. Once a month is what I suggest that you email people, and it doesn't have to be salesy. In fact, most times we don't even give a call to action. It'll just be like, hey, here's the Benjamin Moore color of the year. What do you think about this? Or here's where we've used something similar. Or, oh, look at this project we've just finished. Or let your people at Mydoma, for example, when you come out with a new, a new product like the visualizer, and you're using that in your business, and then you say, oh, look at what we've just, we've started using here. Look at what we've created for our clients, and you could say, of course, you can have a call to action. I'm not saying never have a call to action, but sometimes the legwork is done by your suppliers. My fabric suppliers sometimes send me beautiful pictures of new pillows or fringes or something, and I'm like, oh, I'll just screenshot these, send them out to in my email list, and say, look at some of the new beautiful products that are out right now, or what's trending. People love what's trending, even if you don't believe in the trends. People love the trends. So it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a long email, just a little reminder email, so they're thinking of you.
I can go next. Following on yes, I do have a newsletter. The newsletter only goes out once a month because I know how I am with emails and I don't always check them myself. So, but I do have clients who say, I love your newsletter. I love what you send our way, and this is why I'm calling you. So it does work. And like you said, Claire, they don't forget about you. I feel like my top two things, because I did a little thinking, it's the human connection. So that involves staying in touch with my clients, treating them like people. I mean, you guys know how important and how lovely it feels when somebody says, "Hey, Gloria." And I'm like, "Oh my God, they remember my name." So we love that. We love that human connection. We love having a relationship with people, and we need to let them know that they are people to us, not just money. The other thing is we have really started using our Google Analytics. So we are trying to see where people are coming from. This allows us to kind of plan what we're doing further and what we're doing in the future. So lately, the Google Analytics have let us know that a lot of things are coming from every time we put out a blog post. So the blog post, we're putting more effort into that. And we sat down and we literally planned, for example, in January, these are the two tip topics that we're going to talk about on the blog post. So therefore, we're keeping that consistent in the social media. We're keeping it consistent. We're mentioning it in the newsletters. So we're trying to kind of reuse content so that we're not overworking. So those are my two main things that I've kind of hunkered down on.
I agree with all of that. I mean, email list, if you guys do one thing this year, please, please, please tidy up your email list, start an email list, speak to those people, as Claire was saying. It doesn't have to be detailed. It could just be, here's the projects that we were working on. Here's my favorite color, anything to just keep yourself in front of those people. I call it autopilot selling, where you're just on autopilot and you're just sort of selling all the time without really overwhelming people. And by the way, selling is serving. So if you think about selling as serving someone, then you never have to feel guilty and weird and strange about it. You are serving by giving them this information. So, and my other little takeaways are this. So treat the front page of your website sort of like the front page of a newspaper. Don't make it this boring, flip through, here's your project thing. Keep it fresh. Put something new on the front of your website every single month, more if you can. But I'd like a CNN headline. Put something on there, our newest project, and put that on the front page of your website to keep people coming back to your website to see what you're doing, to see, oh, what are they working on now? Something that's kind of fresh and updated. And then another little thing that I do is I put in my email signature whatever I want to promote. So you're emailing people all the time. So put some little link in the bottom of your email, call us for our discovery call, check out this new package. We're so excited about real estate refresh, something like that. So always find ways to get the message out there. I market so much that even if I'm getting my car serviced, I give them my work email address, not my personal, because who knows if that person is going to be like, oh, what kind of business is that? And then they go and look it up, and then their aunt needs design services, and then they call me from that. So think about all these different, avenues that you can bring in business, and I love, Gloria, what you said about knowing your data. That is so, so, so important. I know that can get overwhelming to some people, so, you can hire that out, but just some of the things that we're talking about, though, most of them are free. So these are free things that you can do right now, and you can start immediately, from a newsletter to a blog to all these things.
Okay. Question. Anybody using any direct mail? Have you done it? Have you gone back to some roots? Would any of you do it if you haven't?
You mean like actual, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. So every year, we do personalized cards to clients. I actually missed Christmas this year, but I don't worry too much. I mean, I've done it every other year, but everyone gets Christmas cards. But we send out like random times a year. So this year we sent out Halloween cards, Happy Halloween, because guess who's sending Halloween cards? Nobody. Nobody is sending Halloween cards, right? We've done Mother's Day cards to clients. We usually do two a year. So there's a lot. It could be Easter. It could be we have Family Day here in Canada in February. We've sent out Family Day cards. And the nicest thing is I love when I go and I see a client And if it's a client I'm working with and I, see, like, I saw the family day, this was a few years ago, we sent out family, and I saw it on her mantle. And she was like, by the way, that was super nice. I had and don't just limit it to clients. We sent this to trades that we've worked with. So I've had a contractor who actually, the next time I saw him, he messaged me, he was like, Thanksgiving. Now Canada's Thanksgiving is different to US, doesn't matter, right? And so we send out Thanksgiving cards. And he was like, that was a really nice touch, and before I know it, we're talking about another project. So I love those mail outs. And I think, again, we overlook the cost to do social media and find new people all the time, to like going to your local print place or Staples and printing 100 things that show your latest project. Go in Canva, have AI do the work for you. Like, it's not complicated these days. You don't need a graphic designer. It doesn't need to be fancy. I mean, the pictures should be professional, or at least look professional, but I think that's great. Like, how many people are getting, I got a few handwritten cards this year from my Boss Academy members for Christmas. Cry. I'm like, this is so nice. No one's sending those anymore. So, and after the consultation, we always send a written thank you letter. Always. It's part of the process.
Yeah, I did a holiday card as well. I did a Christmas card, and I had actually pictures of my two assistants there, and we just wished everybody Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And I actually think I got 2 calls from that, so that it wasn't too shabby. So I like your idea of doing it twice a year. I'm gonna start thinking about the next holiday.
Yeah, we do holiday cards as well, but then we do gifts, for like tangible gifts for our sort of active clients that they get and they can put in their home, and it sort of complements whatever design style we did for them, and that's what they get. Now we also do a gift when we do our in-home consultation, just as a reminder, because they're paying us for that. It works out easy because I have a book, so I can give them my coffee table book. So it's easy for me, but for anybody else, you can give anything. It doesn't have to be that. It could be anything, but it just reminds them, like, oh my gosh, that was such a great consultation. And like, and then they can leave that on their coffee table, and then someone's going to ask about it down the road. And even if they don't work with you or you don't work with them, they still will remember you, sort of top of mind awareness.
Okay, so I think some people are still intimidated by creating an email list or how big it needs to be, and just looking at the chat here and some of the incoming questions. And I think for us on the call, we might take that for granted a bit, that, if you try to think back to when you were starting that email list, is there a magic number? I'm sure your email lists are quite large now, and maybe you don't want to disclose that, which is fine, because we've got some business coaches and, so is there a magic number that you feel is a good place to be? Is there a way to get started? Any advice you want to share on that, just to kind of break down some of that, make it feel a little less intimidating?
I mean, I'll just say, I don't think it's the bigger the better. I mean, just so you know, we keep ours really to 100 or less, and they are our best clients that we've worked with. Or when we have someone who has inquired, which we're trying to do, we've been trying the last couple of years to do.
So sorry, 100. You're talking on your design side, right?
On my client email, that's not my
yeah.
DIY list or my coaching list, but about 100 people that we have. And because I talk to that list differently than I talk to people that come to my color blog. They're totally two different type of people, right? Although sometimes we will send the same email to coaching, color and design, and the clients. If it's a blog that I think, like, again, a color of the year, everyone loves hearing about the color of the year, so everyone gets that email. But I think you just have to start somewhere. And that's the most intimidating thing. I saw someone wrote here, like, you have about 300 people, or some people are like, what if I have 5? We got to start somewhere, right? And so it's just a matter of just how are you getting those emails, and what are you promising to those people? Like, don't put someone on your email list, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I have never done this, and then don't contact them for 3 months, right? Like, really try once a month. As I said, it doesn't have to be complicated to email those people. The MailChimp, I think, is a great place to start. I wrote that in the comments. We use Active Campaign. It gets a little more complicated, a little more expensive, but MailChimp is free. It's pretty basic to use and understand. That was what I first used for many years when I started. It's just really making sure you're asking people. I don't call it a newsletter. I don't find a newsletter is very exciting. I will call it, like, we want to put you on our VIP list. We keep in touch, once a month. We're not going to bombard you, but we're just going to let you know about, like, projects that we've worked on, or if we've been to an event and what's trending at KBiz, or that sort of thing. So it's really because really we don't want any more emails. I mean, I can't hit delete fast enough on emails in my inbox, right? But if it's from someone that they know, like, and trust and have worked with before, or they reached out to you initially, then they're probably going to want to see what you have to say. And if they unsubscribe, by the way, don't cry. I mean, it's going to happen. How many times you get an email and then you unsubscribe? Oh, I don't need this anymore. But it happens. So that's why you need to keep churning and like keep asking, because you're going to get that churn.
And if anybody's wondering like what an email list even, how you even, what that even starts with, and if it sounds crazy to you, all you need to do is think about something you're really good at. Are you great at, choosing paint colors? Are you great at styling or laying out a furniture plan in the living room? Like, what are you really good at? Go onto Canva, it's free, make a one-page document, save it as a PDF, make it pretty with your information on there. You can even put clickable links on there to your website, save it. And then I use Flowdesk personally. MailChimp, all the other ones are great, but I use Flowdesk just because it works great with my website and blah, blah, blah. But you just put that on there and you put it on your website. You put it on your email. You put it on your Instagram, any place where you can have this sort of call to action, you put it on there. And the number of the people really doesn't matter to me, because if you had a speaking engagement and you asked, I want to ask all these people to come and speak to me, and you had 100 people on your email list and 100 people showed up listening to you, wouldn't you be happy if you could get your message out to 100 people? So if you have 100 people on your list, don't discount that number. Even if you have 50 or 20, I don't care. Those are people that you're speaking to directly, and you're providing value to. So I think about it that way, but it's not complicated to do. And there's tons of tutorials everywhere for everybody to do that.
Yep. Just get started.
Sorry, I was going to say, all you have to do is go on Canva and you actually can look up lead magnet, and there is a ton of templates that you can.
There you go.
And you fill it in, and then you connect it to your website, and people have access to your lead magnet if they leave their email address. So, I mean, that's it.
So that leads me to another big topic we want to cover is just social media, right? Like, I mean, this it comes up every time we do a webinar to some extent. So I'd love to know is there a particular platform that either of you are focusing on this year, or are you not doing social media? Just kind of like a quick little bit on that. I know this is a massive topic, but social media, as much as we love and hate it at times, does help us fill that email list, which then trickles down to getting more consultations and then more projects, right? So as we flow through that funnel. Yeah, what are your thoughts on which platforms this year you're going to be spending time on?
I'm still Instagram personally, so that's just where I am. Instagram and Facebook is two of my highest performing social media platforms for me. Threads didn't really work out. Instagram did a call with me the other day, and they were like, "Did you give me feedback on Threads?" And I'm like, "Do you really want it? Because it's not so good. It's not that great for me." So Instagram is still where we are, and it's working great for us. But remember, you guys, use the links. You can put, I think, up to 5 links now in your bio on Instagram. So use all of those. Put your CTA, put your call to action in there. Put your website. Put your your Facebook, put anything else you want to put, use those links on your Instagram. And, the key to Instagram is not just speaking for the sake of speaking, show up when you want to show up. I do what I call Marketing Mondays, where I sit down every Monday and I do my marketing, and that's my Marketing Monday. I know what's happening that day and I plan, all my marketing. So if you make the time to do it, you can come up with like really conscientious posts and really good things to say throughout the year and the month and the week ahead.
Yeah, good stuff, John. And we too, we like Instagram. I like it honestly, truthfully, for both businesses, because designers are there, so it's great for coaching. And also I find a lot of my clients will follow me either before or after we work together. And so and that's actually where I make a lot of connections with personal DMs. I think personal DMs are huge. And we DM a lot with, like, I have a client who who got a dog last year. And so she'll post something about her dog, and then I'll message her about her dog. And I've got another client who, she has a son who's the same age as my daughter. So we'll talk about like, oh, how is the university hunt going, or, sort of thing. And so, having those sort of behind the scene connections as well. And again, I think, like, don't be afraid to give away too much information. So we get a lot of questions on I use YouTube I've sort of slacked on. The thing is that, you've got all these platforms out, and they've all been pushing the short form video that is the same size as Reels. So you can add them to Pinterest, you can add them to YouTube, you can add them on the YouTube Shorts and Reels and Facebook. I find Facebook business page doesn't really get a lot of engagement, but still some people, you can post, it depends what platform you use, which is a whole other conversation, but we've typically used Facebook Creator Studio, and that will post to Instagram and Facebook. And then you can post separately to Pinterest, and then to TikTok, but it can get very overwhelming, as we all know. And so I think the other thing is look at what your goal is. Like who are you hoping, and are your people there? Some people will say, wow, like John, he's had a lot of great success with Instagram. Other people I know have been like, Instagram has been crappy for me. I have a friend out in Calgary who's a designer, Sherry Bruno, who uses Mydoma, and she loves LinkedIn. She swears by LinkedIn, so it's just really a matter of figuring out what platform works best for you. And that is a bit of trial and error. And then also don't be afraid to share information. And when you get a question, I will say to people, like, I will DM people. I'll be like, oh, hang on, I'll send you a DM on that. Or, and I will also voice message people. People think it's amazing when you voice message them. And honestly, it's so much easier, but it's such a quick personal touch that I find it to be great. I will say one thing that we haven't been doing as much lately that I'd like to start doing again is posting on my personal Facebook. I sort of, this is always a question, how much personal stuff should I put on Instagram and Facebook and on my social media? I think stories are great for personal, behind the scenes, what's happening, you're on vacation or whatever, you're out for dinner with your other half. But even just, I noticed that some designers are really good at posting on their personal page to say, here's our latest project we just did. And on my personal page okay, I have a lot of people who are not in my local community, but a lot of them are my friends who are local, or teachers at my kids' schools, or clients that I've worked with before. And that gets shown more typically than your business Facebook page, because Facebook wants you to pay. And the other thing is just quickly going back to the email list, Instagram might make us want to pay. Like some people are saying they're noticing their Instagram is not getting the same reach it was, right? It depends what you're putting out there, how often you're putting it out. That's why the email list, having something like Gloria said, Laurel Byrne, my friend, calls it a bribe, to get people on your list. What are you giving of value to get people on your list? Because these social media, it's free. And at any time, they can change the game, which Facebook did years ago. And everyone got really upset with Facebook business pages because they don't really show them to anyone unless you pay to play. But you can't really get mad because they're free. And, so that's why the email list, I think, is huge. But just give value whatever you do. And don't hold back. But I'll just say there's also times when people will ask me questions and it'll be like 5 questions, like if I paint my cabinetry this color, and then what color should I do my walls? And I'm like, you know what? That would be a consultation. Like we need to dive in on that. That's a little more complicated. So if it's a quick one and done and someone asks me for a paint color, I will share it. That's another conversation when people start asking about furnishings and where you got stuff. But that's my 2 cents on social media. Just give. And of course, video is reels are still getting the best reach, pretty much.
I use Instagram and Facebook are like the most responsive, but to be very honest with you, I repurpose my content. So we create content and it goes into Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and it's the same content. I know that is not necessarily advised if you are, really trying to make one perfect. I think it's mostly geared for Instagram, and then we share it everywhere else, and I'm getting leads everywhere. So I just had a meeting, and I saw somebody asking about LinkedIn. I had a meeting yesterday with somebody who is in the home services. Her husband is trade. He's looking to connect with short-term rentals, and they do presentations to luxury real estate agents, and they're looking for somebody to team up with them. So we're talking about it. Because that gets me out in the community. It keeps getting my name with the local prospective clients, and real estate agents are going to be reaching people who need to make improvements when they purchase a home. And I said, I'm just mainly interested in the luxury home real estate because I know that they're more likely to hire me. But she found me on LinkedIn. So sometimes it depends on where your ideal client is. But what I'm saying is also, like I mentioned before, networking and creating relationships, not just with your clients, but other trades is important. So that's where I see LinkedIn coming in. And for something like your real estate refresh, I feel like a lot of real estate agents may find you on LinkedIn before they find you on Instagram. Although a lot of them are on Instagram too. So Pinterest, I'm starting to delve into it and trying to have my blog posts out there, because again, the attention I'm getting on the website is coming from mostly our blog posts, which we also post on Google. Every time I write a blog post, it goes on Google as well. And that really helps with your SEO.
Can I just say something about
Yeah.
Pinterest too, just quickly? The thing I will say about Pinterest is it's great, but like what Gloria says, if you want to get people from, I find it's not really where local people are necessarily going to find you, but if you want to build your email list, if you want people to come to your website, we have our website monetized, currently get about 75,000 people per month, like views per month. Most of those views are coming from YouTube, but first and foremost is Pinterest, old Pinterest posts. The other thing is that with YouTube and Pinterest specifically, the content you put there is evergreen. So people can can go find a post of mine, or people are still coming on YouTube videos that I did 8, 9, 10 years ago, right? Your Instagram tends to live, very, very short term in your feed, unless people are really interested in you and they go back and they start searching through, which is another reason, like Gloria used the word repurpose, which is fabulous. If we have a series last year that we did about a year ago that we're going to start reposting. It was called 9 Design Mistakes You Don't Want to Make. It got fabulous reach, fabulous views. It was a year ago, and now I have a few thousand extra followers. So guess what? Just repost those, repost them. Maybe you have a different call to action. But don't feel like you always have to be starting new content, and just remember what your goals are. So Pinterest is great for us to get traffic to the website, but people typically bounce faster. And that means that they come, they see your stuff, and then maybe they leave. Where people who come from Instagram and Facebook are typically staying a lot longer in YouTube because they know me, or they've gone to YouTube to search for a specific topic. So again, it gets very complicated. I can appreciate that, but all the different platforms sort of serve a different purpose. And it's the one area where I will disagree with Gary Vee, who I love so much. And he always says, you should be posting, 50 pieces of content a day across all platforms, and they should all look a little different and have different captions. To Gloria's point, I mean, come on, unless you're working with, unless you are Gary Vee, with all these people working for you, that's almost impossible because you have a business to run at the same time. So focus on a couple of platforms, the ones that work for you. And if you're finding you're not getting clients there, then maybe just move to another platform. Instagram isn't for everyone, even though we get very carried away with how many followers everyone has. Like if it's not working for you, it's okay.
Yeah, I think
And by the way, Sarah, there's a difference between marketing to brand your business and marketing to get sales. So just remember that sometimes you market just to build your brand, to build your image, to build who you are as a company, as a person, as whatever your brand is. So think about what you're marketing when you're marketing. Are you marketing a package, or are you marketing something that is going to build your brand? Those are two very distinct differences there as well.
right. And then which channel you put it on. So Pinterest and YouTube are search engines, right? Like they are not, I don't know what you call Instagram. I'm not a marketer, right? But it's your point, like you're quickly indulging in that content and moving on, right? Whereas like when you're searching YouTube and you're searching Pinterest, you're finding something and you're digging in a little bit deeper, right? Like it's serving something up for you. Whereas like LinkedIn, I would look at it as a place to position yourself as the expert that you are, because you're going to have it's a network of professionals on there. So you don't really want to just show up there and just show up a beautiful project. It's like, what did I learn from this project? Or how do I position myself as an expert of a challenge that we overcame at our firm to deliver this, right? I think that the messaging needs to be tweaked to the different platforms, but consistently we're seeing, like stick on the platform that's right for you, and whether you're marketing something to sell or for your brand, right? Good point. I like that. Okay. 5 minutes approximately. Lots of great questions. No way we'll cover them all. Do you guys want to, I mean, we're going to go way over. We would go way over. Do you have any final thoughts? We could start into that because that might go a bit longer, and then I can summarize some of these questions after. If we are in fact in a slowdown, the pendulum, like we're not, the industry's not falling apart. It's nothing like that. Just the pendulum is swung back. You summarized it perfectly. We have to start marketing. We have to do what we were doing for years, right? Always. Any final thoughts of just how you're going to be taking on this year? What year?
I'll say, sorry, just one thing that I think everyone should always be thinking about, especially as we move more and more online, and that's not going anywhere, is really building your brand online, building your email list like we've talked about. And also looking at different ways that you can make money there, right? I mean, as I mentioned, we monetize our blog. I have digital products for sale. We started, because I didn't start doing color reviews because I was like, oh, I'm going to make money here. Like I started doing color reviews because I took Marie Killen's course. I love colors. I had the color boards. I was like, this is going to make great content. So going after what you love, not just chasing money, I think is always important as well. Because eventually, if you're just chasing the money, you're going to burn out. You're not really going to love it, for a long term. But it's really smart move to think about what you can do online and digital product sales, courses. And I know that that sounds crazy. And just remember, this is long term. Like the first video I posted on YouTube was when I started my business in 2011. Like, and the color views, they just keep getting more and more over the years, right? Just remember that it's long term. Do what you love, and then look at ways that what are questions that people are asking you. And that's how we came up with our digital color palettes. We have perfect color palettes, and they're just a digital download. We are update, I say just, when you update 52 of them, it's actually quite a lot of work, but those are, and they're like $19, and we sell quite a few every day, just bing, 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 this little sale here and here. Of course, you can have different price points of stuff. But think about, if you love lighting, let's say, and you're an expert at lighting, listen, not only homeowners don't know about lighting, but even designers, we get confused about lighting. Maybe Sarah can, help out, and they're often doing things like we did a wallpaper event last year to teach designers about, wallpaper. How do you price? What are things you need to think about? Even if you love hardware, you can niche down so much. Hardware seems like what, but it's like kitchen hardware, bathroom hardware, laundry room hardware, finishes of hardware, styles of hardware, and if you love hardware, where do you place hardware? And you become that go-to expert for one thing specific, and you could just build it over time. Then you start creating, digital products. Then you start, it's just an idea. I know it's overwhelming. I'm not going to act as though it's easy. It's a long game, but I think being a smart business owner, you should have a goal that sort of gets you to having products that you can sell online. And through Mydoma, as John mentioned before, you can sell these as packages. You can sell these digital downloads through Mydoma as well. So thinking long term, that's my long term. I know that's not going to necessarily help like today or tomorrow, but I know there was a lot of good nuggets shared already. But that's my advice for long term business owners. Got to get online, love it or hate it. That email list is important.
Thanks, Claire.
I'm going to be more present in 2024. That's what I've decided to do. I just did a podcast episode on The Designer Within, if anybody wants to go listen to it, where I pulled back the curtain of my 2023 and I was like, okay, warts and all, everybody, here's what it is. And I looked at what I did wrong last year, and it was not being as present in my business as I really should have been. And I was over communicating, for instance, with clients during COVID, because I wanted them to know we had it handled, we're fine, we're going to take care of you, we're here. And then that sort of peeled away, and my team did it, but I didn't. And so I felt a little bit of guilt and from that. And also I saw a difference in my company. So this is my year of, yes, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the things. I'm going to show up for events. I'm going to show up in person. I'm going to show up for clients. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be present. I'm going to be present for all the things. And I think it was Claire who said it before, or maybe Gloria, these in-person events are so important, you guys. You're not just marketing to your clients. What if your colleague, what if a brand, what if GE Appliances was at an event and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a great designer in your area. They could recommend you. So don't look at your marketing as just to your clients. As Claire said before, it could be to your trades, it could be to your vendors, it could be to your showrooms, it could be, to Mydoma Studio, anybody. Seriously, we're all this network of individuals, and you could even reach out to another designer and say, hey, I've got a little free time right now. I'm really, really good at CAD. I didn't know if you would want to purchase one of my CAD packages at 10 hours at here's the price. So look internally as well. This gets me excited because there's so many other ways to market inside of our little world that we live in, not just on the outside to clients. And I think that is what we neglect sometimes. But my goal for this year is to be present, to be there, to be, as visible as possible for my clients, for my team, for my vendors, for my trades, for everybody. So you're all probably gonna be sick of me after this year's over.
I don't think so, John. But I think in my case, I mean, I agree with everything that Claire and John just said. And in terms of being present, what I just heard somebody share, as you grow your business, what is it that you have most of? Do you have more time or do you have more money? So we look at what is it that again, I go back to your personal goals, your ideal client, the services you want to provide. You gotta have that clear first. And then at that point you go, okay, so what's missing? What do I need to do? And what am I going to do? If I have more time than money, I'm going to go to networking events. I'm going to, I'm going to put hands on this work that needs to be done for marketing. If I have a little bit of extra money, maybe I need to hire a virtual assistant. Maybe I need a little help. And this person can help me serve more people or reach more people in my marketing or whatever that is. So look at it that way. And I remember years ago, because I started years after Claire, I followed Claire for many years, and I'll never forget one time she shared, probably in one of her Whitwills or something, and she said, you can't call yourself a professional and do this part-time. I am in my office from 9 to 5 at least every day. And I was like, oh, crap, okay. So yes, that is true. You can't just, and it might not be your office. It might be going visit the tile shop, go visit the flooring store close to you, go visit the cabinet maker, just work, treat it as a job. And that will prepare you. When you have the projects, you'll have the knowledge, you'll have the trades, you have the connections. And go to High Point, join an interior design society. All those things have helped me so immensely. So networking at different levels, always very important.
Well, thank you, all of you. Love your insight, your advice, your transparency. It's been fabulous. And the chat has been extremely active. I need to apologize that we can't get to all these questions, but I think we all agree that we would love to sit here for hours and just keep talking it through on end. But we all have businesses to run, and you guys have been talking about all these things they got to go do, so they should probably go do it. So with that, I just want to thank you all for spending so much time with us today. We will send out a recording afterwards. If anybody's interested in learning more about Mydoma Studio, you can pop over to our website. We have a chat there. You can let us know what you're struggling with in your business, and we can let you know if we can be of assistance to help with that. Otherwise, everybody have a really great day, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you at some in-person events. Sounds like everybody's gonna have a pretty busy, packed year, so we'll be seeing you all in person and probably on a webinar sometime soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Nice seeing you.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Have fun, Claire.